Hey guys, Matthew here. Welcome to the second episode of my lab running Zero to Hero. This is also going to be the final one. As you can see, we have already finished up the Headhunter, and we also have some extra currency on top of some other enchants which haven't sold yet and whatnot. But it's pretty crazy. It took me less time to make enough currency to buy a Headhunter from farming lab than it took me time to level the character in order to be able to farm lab, and also farming the initial currency to be able to buy the bases and gear up the character. Now, I did get extremely lucky, as you'll see when we head over to the results and basically how I went about getting this Headhunter in 7 hours, right? In 7 hours, I went from a roughly 1.5 exalt build, about 1.5 exalt in my stash, and worth about 4 exalt worth invested into bases, right? So I had a total of about 7x to well over 100 exalt in value. So pretty crazy, well over 10x an hour. But again, I got extremely lucky, as you'll see a little bit later on in the video. Okay, before anything else though, I want to give a massive shout out to SuitSizeSmall. Sorry about that. So if you don't know who SuitSizeSmall is, essentially this is the guy behind the PoE Lab and PoE Lab Compass, right? So he is the one who goes in and basically makes the daily lab notes every single day, and he's done so for years. So huge shout out. His link, the link to his Twitch is going to be in the description. He doesn't stream like, every single day, but whenever he does, you should definitely drop by, drop a follow, and just say hi and tell him I sent you guys, because again, what he does for this community is absolutely fantastic. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and talk about the results. What did I get? How did I make so much money? And then of course, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys. Alright, so here's basically how it went. I got a Hubris with flicker damage per frenzy. This is good for CI Flicker Strike. That sold for 5x. Basically, one of my strategies for these Zero to Hero is I try to undersell my items. Not to where I'm basically slightly undercutting to where someone else would undercut me. Right, so for example, if an item is 6 exalt, if you put it for 5.8, well, the next guy might put it for 5.6, and then you'll want to put it for 5.4, and you'll kind of just keep pushing the market downwards and downwards and downwards. The way I do it is I'm a lot more aggressive. If the item is 6 exalt, I put it for 5. The idea is that I want to sell mine fast. I want to sell it faster by selling it to either somebody who needs the item, but also potentially somebody who's willing to flip the item, right? They buy it from me for 5x, and then they relist it for 6x. And then they turn a profit. So I like to target flippers by being aggressive in my undercuts, and by doing that, I'm able to sell things very quickly, even when things are slowing down in a given league. So this is why you'll see some of these prices might be like, wait, that's a little bit too cheap. Well, look, I was able to farm a Headhunter in a single day with this strategy, and I've been able to do so in many other of my Zero to Hero. So it does absolutely work to basically focus on trying to sell your items to people who are going to be flipping them. So of course, though, that is going to cut through your profit margins, and if you don't need that currency, you should definitely not undercut. You should only really do that if you're going for quick currency, which, well, when I'm doing these challenges, that's the whole goal. Anyways, I got another one of the Asnas Chant Sniper's Mark effect. That sold for 2x. Now, Asnas Chant is worth about 80C or 70C, whatever. So this is about a 1.5x enchant. Devouring Diadem is about a 10C. So we sold that. I sold the Seismic Trap plus 3 for 3x. That's pretty good. Crown of Eyes, Power Siphon plus 2 proj, 5x. Ancient Skull, Spirit Offering, Fizz Extra, 4x. This is for Aracali's Fang. A Blizzard Crown with Berserk Buff Effect, 4x. Blizzard Crown with Ice Spirit plus 1 proj, 8x. And Emperor's Wit, 32 exalt. Remember when I said I got super lucky? Well, that's number one thing that I got super lucky on, but there's something else as well. Lion's Pelt with Toxic Rain, 40% damage, 2x. These are all sold, by the way. So these are ones that I don't have left. I still have a bunch of them remaining as well. An Elder, Royal Burgundy with Lancing Steel, 2x. Obscurantis with Petrified Blood, Mana Reservation, 2x. I don't even know how that sold or why that sold, but Labbie said it was good, and I trusted Labbie, and here we are. Link down in the description for Labbie, which is the lab running tool that will help you price your enchants. If you don't know what that is, I mentioned it and explained it and showcased it in my previous episode. Memory Vault with Dominating Blow has 1 additional rare, 4 exalt. Again, this is an enchant that I had never heard of. And Labbie told me, hey man, this is not bad at all. You should put that on a memory vault. And I did. And there you go, 4x there. And then this is the second part of my super lucky streak. Memory vault with skeleton, 40% damage. Now this is currently the most expensive enchant in the game, bar none, on a memory vault. A lot of people were basically kind of going like, why are you putting this on a memory vault? When I got the skeleton damage, everyone was like, oh my god, he got the craziest enchant, right? Because it's a very good enchant right now, but people put it on a bone helmet, people put it on other bases. Well, the fact of the matter is, I don't know why, but the best base to put this on is a memory vault, and I sold that for 16x. Matter of fact, I should have sold it for 18x, because that's what it's worth, but I was AFK, so I decided that I wanted to get the Headhunter, so I repriced it at 16 when I came back, and it sold within 30 minutes. So this thing flies off the shelf. A Blizzard Crown with Lightning Strike, +3 projectile, 2 Exalt, Verity's Veil with Toxic Rain, 2 Exalt, and an Alpha's Howl with Defiance Banner 100C, which is the only enchant that I've sold so far, which was below 1x. Actually below 2x. So the reality is that right now, if you want to sell enchants, you're going to have a much better time selling the expensive one, and you're not going to have a great time selling the cheap ones. Anyways, that was all done within a total of 60 labs, and the investment in those 60 labs was 2x. It's 5 chaos per lab. I was running the regular lab. Now, to put you guys in perspective, I give myself restrictions when it comes to my 0 to Hero challenge, and I gave myself 3 restrictions for this challenge. Number 1, I was only going to do helmet enchants, which means no boots enchant were done whatsoever. Number 2, no services were going to be provided to anybody, right? So no going on TFT and doing services. And number 3, no dark shrines. So that means that I was getting the bare bones of 2 enchants every lab, because of course I was using twice enchanted. So in reality, 60 labs is the equivalent of running 120 labs, and this is times 38, which means overall in my 60 labs, I saw a total of 360 total enchants for helmets. And there's probably well over 1,000 in the game right now, so I only saw about a third, which you know, means that I probably didn't get that lucky in terms of the enchants that I got. You are going to get a lot of enchants which sell for multiple exalts, like a lot of them. However, of course, this specific one being the most expensive that you can get, and of course dropping the Emperor's Jewel, those are definitely very lucky. But the thing is, even if you remove those, right, we would have still been over halfway towards a Headhunter, or just about halfway towards a Headhunter in just about 7 hours. And that was starting with very minimal amount of bases, which means that whenever I got something that was better than something else that I had sitting on a base that was semi-expensive, like a Blizzard's Crown, I would just overlap the enchant, right? I would overwrite it, and I would basically lose potential profit by doing so. But that's just because that's just what you have to do when you have limited resources to buy the enchants initially. I was planning on doing Gift of the Goddess, but I got done so fast with the challenge that we didn't have to. Alright, so like I said, 2x investment, 5C per lab, 60 lab, 300C, 2x. And then the initial bases, I spent about 4 exalt. This was all farmed mostly yesterday in order to be able to buy the initial bases, as I'll showcase it a bit. And in sales, 91 exalt. I bought the Headhunter for 86 exalt. I have another 6x and a little bit left over, as well as some extra enchants. Probably about another 10x worth of enchants there, and another few exalt there. So these are ones that I will probably never sell, which are 1x and below, are typically very hard to sell because there's so many people who have these enchants. The ones that actually end up selling, like I said, are the 2x and above. 3x and above typically are the ones that sell even the fastest. But I have another 10x-ish worth in enchants right here, which would bring the total even higher. But they're not sold, so we're not going to worry about them. All we have to worry about what's already been sold. And as you can see, the Headhunter has been acquired. Okay, so just to showcase what is an Emperor's Wit, for those who don't know, whenever you run lab, you have a potential of dropping any of the Emperor's Jewels. So the Emperor's Jewels are attribute stacking jewels, which give you percent-based attributes. And I got really lucky. I got the second best one. The best one is the Emperor's Mastery, which sells for about 75x, but the Emperor's Wit This is very misleading, by the way. It's a lot more than that. I sold mine for 32x, and the cheapest one when I got mine was actually 35. So again, I targeted the people who would be willing to flip it back to 35 and make that 3x all profit. Now, the reason why it's a little bit misleading on the values because there's very little of them actually listed. So that tends to devalue them. Now, of course, if more and more people start running the lab, more and more of these will appear and they will drop in price. But as you can see, the strength stacking one is roughly the same price, and then the deck stacking one is, well, we don't really talk about that one. But I got pretty happy. I got the second best one. Of course, if you get the best one, you basically just drop the Headhunter right then and there. And that pretty much is it for the challenge. Now, I did say at the beginning of the video that I had a surprise for you guys. So what I prepared, because the number one question that I got during my stream today is, how do I know what what bases I need to buy in order to be able to start lab running? Well, worry not, I got you. So in the description down below, there's going to be a link to this Google document here. And what it is, it's very simple. It's just a list of the bases, how many of them you should be purchasing before going into lab running, and then the link to go ahead and buy these specific bases. So a lot of these are very cheap. They're just a few chaos each. Some regular 85 plus bases, even Shaper and Elder ones are pretty cheap. A lot of very cheap uniques such as Abyssus, Crown of Inward Eye, Devotos, what else? Verity's Veil, Alpha's Howl, Crown of Eyes, Ancient Skull, very, very cheap uniques. And then there's a few enchants that are going to be a little bit more expensive, a little bit more pricey, such as Elder Bone Helmets, Blizzard Crowns. And then I have some additional information about these bases. So for example, remember to split your Blizzard Crowns if you get them and they're not already split. Split fossils are only like 25C. If you're buying the base for 100C, well, you're basically saving quite a bit of money by splitting it with a fractured fossil. It will not mirror it. It will just give you a split copy, which will have the split tag, and all that means is that it can't be split again. You can still enchant it. You can still Awakener Orbit, Maven Orbit, all that good stuff. The only thing is it can't be split anymore. So there's no downside, basically, other than the fact that you have to buy the splits, but you're still making a lot more money. Now, you have to make sure that it doesn't have the split tag when you buy it. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that. So yeah, this is going to be in the description as well. Now, I was definitely expecting this series to be probably 3 episodes, 1 episode of regular labbing, and then basically going to the Gift of the Lab, or Gift of the Goddess for the 3rd episode, and then, finish it off probably there. But I guess RNG decided that it was going to be otherwise, and here we are. After 7 hours, we have made over 100 Exalt, which is absolutely insane. So, before I go, as always, I do want to say a massive, massive thank you to my supporters, as always. So that would be Lycum, Hamad, Max, Georgie, Rescoro, Stan, Brandon, welcome back, Thomas, Nake, The Great Master, Alex, the second Alex, Tim, Mercury, Johnny, Scott, Nailed, Kevin, Killer Kev, Dubstep, Alex, Bitizen, and Sinjeric. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.